Welcome, everybody. It's Mr. Reality, joined by psychic medium remote viewer Liz Cross. Liz, if I had $5 for every time someone said, "Hey, why don't you do the Amy Lynn Bradley thing?" I would have lots of $5. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. This is a very popular request. Okay, so I'm going to preface this with a lot of things. Okay, let's start. Number one, this is a psychic mind probe. We are going to bypass the consciousness and hit their truth meter. Okay, that's the first and foremost. We're going to have a lot of new people come into this video. The second thing is we're not a multi-million dollar news outlet, okay? Meaning the people doing the research is Mr. Reality, right? And our Patreon subscribers who have posed a lot of questions for us. But we're going to have to take this probe as a team effort. And what do we mean by team effort? We mean us and you listening. There's
Hmm.
going to be a lot of internet sleuths out there. If we're missing questions, I need you to put those questions in the comments. This is not a one and done, okay? We're going to go back to this one several times. So if you have some information and you can put information in the comments and we're missing an avenue of inquiry, please do us a favor, put it in the comments. All right, Mr. Reality, I'm ready.
All right, so Amy Lynn Bradley recently graduated in 1998 from Longwood University. She was traveling with her parents on a, I don't know, Royal Caribbean cruise, Rhapsody of the Seas from San Juan to Curaçao. In the early hours of March 28th, 1998, she was seen at either 3:30, 4:30, or 5:30 by her father on the deck, and then he didn't lost track of her. She'd been out drinking earlier that night, and there've been a lot of conspiracy theories. A lot of Reddit people have found her, maybe alive, maybe dead. Who knows? So I thought we would try and investigate some of those peculiar irregularities and see if we can get to the bottom of them.
All right, let's rock and roll. Where do we
All
start?
right. The first one is Yellow. Yellow is a band guy. I guess he was a bass player. And he was the last one to see Amy, allegedly, when she was out partying at the discotheque. I've never been on a cruise, but I understand you can drink as much as you want and eat as much as you want. Two things I don't do. So Yellow came up to allegedly her brother and said, "Hey, man, I'm sorry about your sister." And so I wondered if we could ask Yellow, if he's still alive, what he was thinking, what was going through his head, and if he really said that or not.
He's still alive.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
let's ask. Um, why did you say to Amy Bradley's brother, I'm sorry about your sister? He says, I was just trying to show a little empathy. I've got a question. Were you dealing drugs on the boat when you used to work as a bass player on the cruise ship? All the time. I knew that. I knew that. He's a drug dealer. He was dealing drugs
Was
and
he
he was
sharing
making,
drugs?
were you sharing drugs? Yeah, occasionally, but he was dealing drugs. That's why he was working on that cruise ship.
And he said, "I'm sorry about your sister." Had he heard? Did he know? Did he see her?
Had you heard? He knew. He knew.
How many
Did
drugs was he on at the time?
were you taking drugs? So I'm not getting that he was a major drug taker, but he was certainly like a drug kingpin peddling drugs to the customers or the guests on the boat. And this is a well-known fact. This is not something that they don't know about. They knew that he was peddling drugs on this boat, but everybody kept their mouths shut.
And is he still involved in those activities, or is he retired from the kingpin industry?
Are you still involved in that? No, he doesn't do that anymore.
Hmm. How long had he been doing that?
How long had you been dealing drugs on the boat? 2 to 3 years. He eventually quit that lifestyle Why did you quit? Because people were just too suspicious. It was just getting too much. He doesn't want to go to jail. Now, I'm going to tell you all something.
Okay.
I've worked on homicide cases in the Caribbean before, and you better believe that everybody knows what's going on, but everybody lives in fear. Most of the major criminal players are usually in government. You've got several layers of criminals. I'm just telling you what I know from my experience. Um, you'll have your top tier, those are your top tier criminals. They are usually the politicians, MPs, representatives in the government. And then you'll have your sort of lords underneath them that are following orders from the top tier criminals. I'm not saying everybody in the top is a criminal, but that's where they like to position themselves. And then you have your street people, your street dealers, your street, ones that carry out the attacks, ones that run the brothels, ones that are peddling the drugs. So let's ask him this question. When you were peddling drugs on the cruise ship, were you actually working for another person? Yes. And I don't know why he just said this name to me. He says Big Mark. Okay?
Hmm.
Big Mark is what he just said. Um, I feel this Big Mark person is dead now. I feel he was taken out by another rival gang. Were you willingly doing this, selling drugs, or were you forced into selling drugs? He was somewhat forced into it. And that's what they do in these countries. They basically, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill you and your whole family. And they will kill you and your whole family. They will. But he was dodgy. So let's ask him this question. Did you take Amy off of the ship? He did. And where did you take her? He took her to a place on Curaçao. Or was that where you took her? Yeah. That was the plan. There was allegedly his daughter came up with something about her mother discovered all these pictures of white women in his suitcase. Why were those pictures of white women in the suitcase? Were you actively scouting for people to traffic? He was. So he was being paid to traffic people. He was being paid to scout them. Did you drug Amy? Yes, he did.
Wow.
I know. I know.
And th-
He, let's ask this question. So, were you, when you took her off the cruise ship, did you deliver her to someone? Yes, he delivered her to the gang. So, the gang that he was working for, he delivered her to that gang. And then what happened? They kept her on drugs. Now that is a very typical scenario when people are being trafficked. They make them into drug addicts because you're basically you control somebody. If you make someone into a drug addict, you're controlling them. They can't leave because they're terrified that they wouldn't have access to the drug. So that is very typical. So when you delivered her to the gang, what happened? They all, and I know her family may be listening to this, but I'm just going to say it because this information needs to come out. And I know it may sound insensitive, but there's no point at this, this late in the day of withholding information from this mind probe uh, that may be hurtful because it's all relevant information. That's what happens. And so they all forced her into sex, and then she was held there. Did most people on the island know about this? Yeah. But you see, when you live under kingpins, drug lords, dodgy politicians, you're not going to say anything. You keep your mouth shut or you will go missing. What would you like to know? Where do we go from here?
And what if we can ask Yellow how he supplied the drugs to her so that people taking a cruise may be able to avoid such things happening to them? Or, how did he deliver them? How did he ply her with them on the boat?
How did you ply her with drugs on the boat? He dropped in her drink. But she was also, was she looking for drugs? According to his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions, she was also interested in drugs.
Hmm.
What type
How
of
many other
drug?
times had Yellow done this?
Oh God, how many times have you done? I mean, he used to sell to thousands of people. He was on that boat or these ships all the time.
How come we don't know about other missing people from that cruise line then that were in trafficking industry?
Oh, how many times? I'm sorry. I thought you meant how many times did he sold drugs? How many times have you trafficked? There's only two or three that were trafficked, successfully from these cruise ships. Did you traffic anyone else after? See, it wasn't just him on the boat. There were others on the boat as well. Were they also employees? Yeah. So that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to get a gig on the boat so you could, A, get paid, but B, you're basically working for a gang to traffic people. And let's ask this question. Why did you want to get people from cruise ships? It was easy pickings. Nobody knows anything, nobody sees anything, people go missing, no one hears anything. Everybody's off their face on alcohol, drugs. They're there partying. Nobody can notice. So, how did you get her off the boat? Did you walk her off the boat? No. No, he had her in musical bags, musical equipment. So you had a long, was it like a guitar case? I mean, it looked like a guitar case, yes, but he had her in a very long bag. Was she heavy? Very heavy. Did you push her on a trolley or did you like carry her? He did a bit of both. Was it just you taking her off the boat? No, it was not. There was three of them.
The whole band?
Were they all men? Yes.
Were the other bandmates? Did the whole band know, or would you have other handlers that were like roadies?
Mm. Were they bandmates? No, they weren't bandmates. I don't feel his bandmates knew. I mean, they didn't know this level. Did your bandmates know that you were selling drugs? I mean, everybody knew that. Everybody knew that this guy was peddling drugs.
And yet, the association, the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, did nothing about it.
No, they're covering their tracks.
Hmm. How long have they known about this illicit activity on board?
How long did you know about this illicit activity on board? They were aware. They were aware. I mean, look, this guy was slick. So would you deal drugs like out in the open? No, he did not deal drugs out in the open. Would people come to your room? There was another room of somebody who was a staff member. That's where the drugs were. So he would take them to where the drugs were on board the ships. Were the drugs kept in your room? No, he did not keep drugs in his room. So you would let people know that drugs were available. Yes, basically he would let people know that drugs were available. Did Amy approach you wanting to buy drugs? No, he offered drugs to her. What type of drugs? Marijuana? Yes. But they also sold cocaine.
And just found girls and tried to get them to get free drugs.
So you would lure them in with drugs? Yeah. Why did you have, I mean, of all the females on that boat, why were you after Amy? She was young, she was pretty, had a lot of potential to make us a lot of money.
And she was probably wasted.
Was she wasted? I think he drugged her drink, is what I'm getting very strongly. He drugged her drink.
And what did he put in there?
What did you put in there? Like horse
Rohypnol?
tranquilizers.
Yeah, the
Is that what that is?
that's like a
Rohypnol?
rape. I don't know. Please, I've not. Rohypnol, I thought was the drug where RHB or something. I don't know, but it's will definitely knock you out. And when Yellow took her to the island, did he have any other things that he did with her, or did he just drop her off, take his money, and leave? And was his money, how did they pay him for it, for
Had it.
Amy's transit?
Mhm. Was there someone waiting for you? Yeah, they had someone waiting to carry her. She was tied up. She was tied up. I can see that very clearly. Her hands and her feet were bound. She was gagged and she was out cold. They delivered her. They poured water on her and she started coming to her senses. And then they basically, what they are saying to me, and again, this is very insensitive information. I am hyper aware of that, but not providing these details, what's that going to do? What if I hold all these details in? How's that going to help anybody? It's not. They called it that she had to go through some sort of training. And this is where they're applying her with drugs. They're making her have sex and they start selling her to other people. They changed her appearance. Listen, this gang are very coordinated. Um, there are girls that are associated with this gang as well. I feel like they are also trafficked victims, but they then sort of take on this. I don't know. It's hard for us to understand, but it's like they took on this persona of they're with the gang. This is my life now.
How many other women are you talking about that are involved with it, that are at the top echelon and that are working in Amy's level?
How many other girls did they have? They had four. They had about four girls there. That's a lot of money. If you've got four girls be forced into prostitution, you're making a fortune. Now, can you pull up that Navy guy, please? Let's find out if he's lying.
Oh, where was that? Pause for a second.
Okay, we'll pause the video while you find.
All right, so I found the picture. This is Bill Hefner, a Navy vet, who said that Amy came up to him in a bar and said, "I need help," as she was very panicked. And if we can bring in Bill Hefner and ask him what exactly happened, what details is he omitting in this interaction between he and Amy?
Ooh. Okay, I've got him here. Now, not to discredit or disparage anybody's you know, image or anything like that, but visiting prostitutes off of the Navy ship was a regular occurrence for this guy. Okay, I'm getting that very strongly. He went to many brothels. He knew where they were. He could always find them. He paid good money. Had you been to this brothel before? No. How did you find this brothel? He was referred, so he asked around, and it was a known thing. It was a known thing when the military ships would, land into town or sail into port, rather. You would have people there greeting them, telling them, "Hey, you want some girls? This is where you go." Is that how you ended up there? Yeah, that is how he ended up there. Now, is anything about your story where you were in the brothel and the female said to you, I am Amy Bradley, is there anything untrue about that story? No. That was exactly what happened. Do you honestly believe that that was Amy Bradley? Yes, he honestly believes, hand on heart, that that was Amy Bradley. Had you heard those stories before from girls? All the time. Listen, these guys know. These guys know that when they go to brothels, these girls are trafficked a lot of times. And he says, yeah, it's a familiar story. It's a sob story. He'd been all over the world. He'd heard it a lot of times before, but that wasn't his problem, he's telling me. His problem was, he was a customer, and that was what he believed from his point of view, an honest transaction. Did you have sex in that brothel? No, he did not. Did you inquire about paying for Amy? No. He was frightened and he left.
And did he tell any of his shipmates or anybody else, or was he too embarrassed to admit that he had met someone claiming that they needed help?
Did you tell any shipmate? No, he did not tell anybody. He doesn't tell his soul. Like, you don't say anything to anyone.
Does he have guilt now that had he said something, something could have been done to help her?
Do you have guilt? He does. He thinks about her. It haunts him.
And does he feel that he could have done more? Did he feel like he could have helped her and gotten what could he have done, I guess, differently?
What could you have done differently? Well, he could have told the authorities. But you see,
They're probably in. They're probably in on it.
that's the problem. When you go to these places, the authorities are in on it. Everybody knows what is going on. They know. They may pretend that they don't know. They may say that they don't know. They know.
They're on
And
the tape.
that was very clear to me when I worked a major, major homicide case in the Caribbean. I was actually flown out there. And they knew that the psychic was being flown to the island and they were looking for me. I had the Caribbean mafia chasing me. That these people, they know. Everybody knows. These places are not big places. Everybody knows one another. They know what goes on. They know what they should know and what they shouldn't know. And what they shouldn't know, they keep their nose out of it for fear of, I don't want any trouble. I just want to live a peaceful life. That's not my scene.
Did Amy
So,
give any note?
did Amy give you any note? No. Did she have any tattoos? Yes.
Did the
So,
guys that took her try and intimidate you in any way or force you out of the bar?
was the guy there? Was he the same guy that is yellow? He believes his own personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions that yellow was the guy there. But there were other men there, there were other women there. It was clear that drugs were being dealt out of this place.
He saw yellow at this bar also?
Did you see? Yeah, he believes he did. Yes, he believes that he did. And so if you're going to tell the authorities, who are you going to call? I mean, you can tell your shipmates, you can tell the Navy. They know this. Listen, this is nothing that people don't know. It's just everybody kind of back in the day turned a blind eye to it. Now that more information has come out and more exposure, I mean, they are more aware of what's going on and they're taking a more proactive approach. But this, they knew what was going on. They don't question how the girls got there. They that's not what they're there for, right? They're not questioning, they're not leading an interrogation. They're there for sex. They've been on a ship for God knows how long, and this is what they're looking for, and they pay good money and they go back on the ship and nobody says anything.
Oh,
Were you there on your own? No. There was another sailor or Navy officer, naval officer with him, but he's not coming forward.
Because he partook in the debauchery there at the bar, or
Did he have sex? Yes, but not with Amy, with the other girl. He was not there alone.
all right, there's another
You
guy.
wouldn't, he just said to me, you wouldn't go to these places alone. That's stupid.
This is Canadian tourist David Carmichael reported a possible sighting of Amy on a beach in Curaçao in August, shortly after her disappearance. He said he saw a woman with a distinctive devil tattoo appearing to communicate with him before being ushered away by two men. Carmichael said he was certain it was her after seeing the photograph on America's Most Wanted months earlier.
Hmm. Okay. Do you have a picture of him?
I don't have a picture of David Carmichael, but
Well,
let's see if we can.
there he is.
Could be
All right.
David Carmichael there.
Yeah,
Sure. That's probably not
that's him.
David Carmichael, but that could
No,
be.
that's him. Okay, so are you in any way fabricating your story about Amy Bradley? No. Do you genuinely believe? He goes, I know it was her. Okay. Um, did you tell anyone at the time? No, not really, but he thought the behavior was odd.
Why couldn't he get to her? Was he like too busy scuba diving? Did he pass it off as someone's just being silly, or did he know in his head it was her at the time, or did he think
Did you
about it later?
did you know in your head it was her that no, he didn't know at the time of the interaction that it was her, but he thought the whole thing was quite strange. Did you, were you approached to buy sex from her? No.
He said two men ushered her off. What did the men look like?
What did the men look like? He's just saying like Caribbean males. Were they black males? Yes. Was there anything distinctive? They were big. He says they were big males. Now what is interesting is that there is a website. Amy is, or Amy Bradley is missing.com. Don't shoot me down in the comments for not knowing exactly. But the fact that they found most interesting is that there was an IP address that at Christmas, Thanksgiving, family birthdays of the Bradley family, they would visit this website and they would stay on the pictures for several minutes consistently. And yet they traced the IP address back to Curaçao and also the Barbados, I think Bridgetown. So can you pull up that IP address? I'm going to pause the video while you grab.
And so here's the thing you asked for about the IP tracking. There's allegedly from the Netflix series, someone goes to the Amy is Missing site from an IP address in Curaçao, and case discussion person sign a dog or whatever their name is said they had goosebumps when that happened. So can you track back in your psychic sleuthing, Liz, who's on that IP address at the other end?
So do we have the actual IP?
No, they don't release that, I don't think.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to target in, zone in, or tune in to that IP address. Who is it who's visiting that website? Who is it that is visiting that website for a prolonged period of time? It's not her. There's the IP. Yeah.
Well, it's from the website, I guess. What is this
It's not
person at the
her.
other end?
Who are you at the other end? These are her kidnappers. They know everything about Amy, okay? They know everything about her. They have watched this case, and the fact that it has blown up to be this big nationwide international deal, they're terrified. Now they feel very protected in their countries. There was something where they believe that this person was spotted in Florida. I'm getting a no on that. Those are not the same people. They wouldn't dare move her to a place where there's, not saying that the USA is perfect, but where there's law and order, right? That's too close. They need to stay where they are protected as a gang, and they are protected within Curaçao. And did you also have a gang operating in the Barbados? No. Okay, so this is what I picked up on. Let's go back to Yellow and ask him this question. What eventually happened to Amy that he sold her? Okay. Very clear to me, he sold Amy. The gang sold, yes. And how much did they sell? They needed her off the island. There was too much suspicion, too many people coming to the island, you know, even personal detectives, not private detectives. I'm talking about people like internet sleuths, people conducting their own investigations, people visiting the island. They would always be on the lookout for her. Okay. So they needed to move her and they sold her. Where did you sell her? They sold her to a gang in Barbados.
How much did he make?
How much did you sell her for? 10,000 US dollars, higher 15, between 10 and 15,000 US dollars.
Oh,
And, they did the job that they had to do, which is to make her a drug addict. When you are drugged up like this all the time, you forget who you are. You forget where you come from. You forget, this is a new life now. Those details don't matter. You can't think about those details. You become the new person or the new identity that they give you. Did you give Amy a new name? Yeah. Yes, she was given a different name. How did you traffic her from one island to the next without having to go through passport control? He's like, that's easy. I'm saying, how did you do that? Did you fly her there? No, she went by boat. She went by boat. They didn't just sell her, they sold a few others as well. Did your gang have many girls working around all over the island? He's telling me, all over the island.
and I don't know, did he do it again after Amy, or was that his last?
Did you guys traffic more girls after? No, they wanted to wash their hands of this level of criminal activity and just stick with the drugs. This was too dangerous. This was too dangerous. So did you just like enslave local prostitutes? I mean, he's saying there was plenty of women that would just do local prostitution, but nobody wants to pay for those. They want the foreigners. They want the white women, he says. They want, something different. And they're willing to pay big money for that. But they sold these girls. And do you know exactly who you sold? No, he goes, we don't ask questions like that. They paid the cash. We sold the girls.
Um, does he have any past life connections with Amy Yellow?
Do you have any past life connection? Oh yeah. They've known each other in past lives. How have you known each other in past lives? I mean, he's been her husband in past lives. But I mean that's quite, this is this is a whole different scenario. Um, so the last known location for Amy was Barbados. And there was the woman that saw her in the restroom, and she thinks it's the same lady from the pictures of, the prostitution advertisements. She believes it's the same lady. Can you bring up the pictures of the prostitution advert, please?
Let's see, where's that? So
There
this
you
is
go.
allegedly a Amy Bradley. Well, revelation, a woman saw her on a sex worker website believed to be Amy. And this is, I don't know why you were looking at a sex worker website. Probably don't click that. Danger. But they wondered if this was Amy. And I don't know if she was in a porno video or something, or
So I know you haven't
the
watched the
website
document.
labeled the woman as Jazz, and many believed it was proof that Amy was alive. Some extra images which appeared to confirm it was not, it says here.
So here's the deal. First of all, don't shoot Mr. Reality down in the comments. He has not watched the documentary yet, and that's
Or the
okay.
porno, by the way.
No. And so let's ask her, can you go back to the original photo? Please, the one, no, sorry, not the original of Amy, the original. See, if you look at that photo that you just had, that is half the sex worker picture and half of the Amy picture.
Yeah,
If
they're
you
saying this is a cross picture there. There.
if you could scroll back up, please. There you go. I'm going to tune into this lady. Now, I do not feel that this lady is alive anymore. I just don't feel that. But we'll have to do a part two. And of course, we've asked again, just to remind the audience, we're asking you, this is a team effort. So if we're missing out questions and you think that there's an avenue of an inquiry that we need to pursue, put it in the comments nicely.
Yes,
Okay,
please, nicely. Thank you.
right. So let's look here at her. Let me tune in. And I'm going to do a remote viewing procedure here where I transport back to the time this photo was taken. Are you Amy Bradley? I used to be. What do you mean by you used to be? I'm not her anymore. I've lost my identity. Are you Amy Bradley from Virginia? I was. Are you the one that went missing off the cruise ship? I was stolen. Where are you at the moment? Are you when this photograph was taken? Were you in Now this photo, it seems to be taken in Curaçao. Did they make you pose? Yes, they made her pose for this photograph. Did they beat you all the time? Did they sexually abuse you frequently? Did you ever not want to engage in this all the time? But you see, they drugged her up all day long. She had no choice. She was out of it most of the time. And what would happen if you got complaints? They would beat me and they would rape me. So you see how that goes. I mean, you're forced into compliancy. You're drugged up all the time. You completely forget who you are. So as I'm tuning into this lady here, she is like a shell of her former self, which was at the time the photo was taken, Amy Bradley. Did you know that your photographs, at the time when they were taking the photographs, did you think that somebody may recognize me? And she said, yes, I did. So I did want to get my photographs out there as much as possible. How many years into this did you stop believing that you were Amy Bradley and that you became someone else? About 4 to 5 years. So it took 4 to 5 years. Did you give up hope? Oh, she gave up all hope in the end. And were you always surrounded? Was there any time that you could escape? No. No, she was always guarded. The doors were guarded. What about the interactions with the men? Did you ever pass the men a note? No, because you didn't ever know if this was a gang member who facilitated like a setup where you pass someone a note and they're actually a gang member and now you're going to get a beating and raped. um it was too dangerous to pass someone a note. But when you had white men, tourists, did you have quite a lot of those coming through the door? Not as many as she thinks. But what would happen if you did have those men come in? Did you at any time say to them like, "I'm Amy Brad"? She goes, "I tried." But again, all of these men are engaging in illegal activity,
Mhm.
nefarious activity. You know, they keep their secrets too. They don't want people to know that they're visiting brothels. Did the police know you were there? She goes, "Yeah, of course, the local police knew that I was there."
How does she know the local police knew?
How did you
Were
know
they
the local
customers?
knew? Yeah, they would come in, they would hang out. Did they, did you, were you forced to have sex with the local officers a couple of times? They knew she was there. Everybody is getting paid here in this scenario. Everybody. The gang, they're paying the police to keep them off their backs. I mean, it's all run from the top down. That's why when you go to these countries and you get into trouble, you're done because nobody's going to investigate it. And that was the biggest problem on the case that I worked. The biggest problem was they had to bring in, you know, uh, law enforcement officers and private detectives from the outside to investigate the case because nobody's getting their hands dirty here. They're not going to be the one that grasses up somebody else. They're just not going to do it. So when you're in these countries, you can forget it. If something happens to you, nobody's going to investigate it. Everybody knows who's done it. Nobody's going to say anything for fear of their own lives.
Right. You
You
don't
know,
have the
and they're probably
manpower, the fight power
they,
to go in and do anything.
well, but the thing is, the problem is if you bring jurisdictions in from the outside, right? So say you bring in like the American police or the British police or whatever, you have to have permission from the local government and from the upper echelons of the government to carry out an investigation. Do you think that they're going to allow themselves to be turned over and investigated? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because if you have the Brits going in there or the Americans going in there, you're getting turned over and exposed and everybody's going down. It's just they're not going to allow these investigations. They're going to really secure the, oh yeah, we'll let you have a little bit of information, but they really, they have a tight grip on what information you can access here.
All right. Well, let's ask the users and the commenters to pose some questions for us for the next time. And we're going to revisit this probably next week, give people a chance to watch it and settle. And want to give your questions a chance to stew in your mind before we come back to it. So, Liz, thank you very much, I guess, for this beginning probe and for alerting me to it. Thanks to all the YouTube comments that made a suggestion for it.
And thanks to our Patreon subscribers that asked the questions so far. There are a lot of things that we've left out in this first video, and that's okay. We're going to revisit this again and tie up any loose ends, but this is where we're headed. Um, why am I not channeling Amy? Okay, let me give you this. I'm no stranger to homicide and criminal investigations. That's where I started out as a psychic medium, right? I mean, I do readings and I do CTT. Yeah, I do all that. But this is what I used to do all the time. So I know from experience that when somebody is on drugs, And I'm not talking about soft drugs. I'm talking about hard drugs. Their consciousness and their soul tends to half vacate the body. So I could channel Amy, okay? I could channel her, but then I don't know if the Amy I'm talking to that will be standing here in hologram form is Amy who is on drugs, or is this Amy who's in spirit? Because it seems that when somebody is on drugs, like half of themselves is already in the spirit world anyway, right? They're teetering on the brink as it is, when they're under the influence of drugs. So this
Hmm.
is why at this point in time, I'm not channeling Amy. It will possibly lead everybody on a wild goose chase down the wrong path because she could be like, "Oh yeah, I'm in spirit. This happened, that happened." It's not
Delusionally
safe
answering the
to go there.
questions. Right.
Yeah, it's not safe to go there. It's better to get the information from all these people that we mind probe. Now, in the next video that we do and we put together next week, we will be back for, like Mr. Reality said, next week for this. I would like to know why the daughter decided to make contact. What is it that she is suspicious of? And any other leads that you guys give us. So thank you so much. Again, spam this video out if you think it's going to be helpful. Spam it to the family. We do respect the family and we're sorry to the family. This is horrendous. As a mother myself, oh my God.
Be horrific.
Like, it is. It's terrible. So we will revisit this again, but spam it out to, everywhere. Because the more people that participate in the comments with avenues of investigation, the more people I can mind probe and start to maybe, have a net close in on this.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. And thank you, Liz Cross. We appreciate you for helping us through this.
Great. Thank you.